3, 2, 1. Hey, y'all. We are back for another episode of the Manly Musings Podcast, Season 3, Episode 4, which makes this episode 108. Holy mother. That is crazy. We are dealing with technical difficulties again with Kevin. But this time it's with his mic and his headset. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the night. But if you're watching on YouTube, and you will hear shortly, we got two of our favorite people to join us. We got producer Andrew, and then we got the other half of the Mushings. Joe Mack has returned to the Manly Musings.
Reporting for duty.
Welcome, guys. Andrew, happy to have you back.
Glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, you are the producer, so you have to kind of be a part of this.
Yeah.
So
every so often I get a text message that says, "When are you going to be on the pod?"
Well, we ask you every week.
And we
Yeah,
had
true.
a New Year's resolution that we were at least going to have you on at least once a month.
That's true. That's true. I feel like I've been, since the beginning of the school year, that's been pretty.
Yeah.
We got to stay true to it.
Yeah, I gotta keep me true to that.
Yeah, I would say so. Let's get this started. Kevin, what you rocking tonight? You were rocking something for another friend?
Yes.
All right.
You know, I'm just rocking my hoodies. You guys probably see like the hat that I wear when I do the filibusters with your Filipino Star Bucksters. Just repping my Alpha Fit Club hoodie. Shout out to my people from the Alpha Fit Club of Marlboro. They're amazing. They're the reason why I've been shrinking. So if you've been watching this on YouTube, you're probably seeing my face be shrinking for the last couple of months. And it's because of them. And they're the coaches and the programming over there. It's been a lot of fun. I take their 5 a.m. class, and they always talk about that, how pretty much I kind of made their 5 a.m. class kind of popping. So we're there. I just want to support them and shout them out. There's a bunch of them in Jersey. So there's one in Red Bank, Glen Rock, Wayne. There's one coming in Jersey City. There's one in Princeton. And I think I'm missing a couple of them, but they're popping up all over. It's kind of the jam with this new craze around here where like circuit training with a little bit of everything thrown in. But I love it. It's kind of gotten me back to where I was when I was like back in my CrossFit days. And it's I'm kind of getting too old for me throwing out all those heavy weights in CrossFit, but the volume that I get over here has been phenomenal. So shout out to my people at Alpha Fit Club, the owners, Britt, Corey, and Christian. They're amazing, super awesome people. And I love all my people out of my AFC. So shout out to y'all.
Love it, Kevin. I love it. And yes, I can attest you have shrunk. I love that too. That's a good thing for you. Andrew.
Yes.
I'm shocked you were wearing that jersey after last night.
Okay. I've said this 1,000 times before. I have been a fan since we drafted EJ Manuel into the NFL. All right. Going 5-5 and losing to the Broncos, although I did exclaim very loudly to all of my roommates that I was going to hang myself in the kitchen that night. I will still wear the jersey the next day. Yeah, it wasn't a good look. I'll put it that way. I'm going to take this time to mention this now because it's not on the list, but the Bills fired Ken Dorsey, which is might be the greatest in-season move ever. Because
was it his fault that they lost?
Yes.
He threw
you had 12 men on the field.
No, that was okay. I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him for the loss. I'm blaming him for the team this year. And I'll blame him for the team last year too, because if you look at the Bills offense since Dable left the upper New York State, that offense has become stagnant. It is successful, and it is, when operating well, operating amazingly. However, it's the exact same play style, exact same system every single down. We did not run the ball almost at all last year. And now we're only running the ball when we run the ball. We ran the ball 6 straight plays last night.
Yeah, and also on the first play of the game, fumbled it.
Yeah, fumbled
and then
it.
Josh Allen threw another interception on the second drive.
The first one wasn't on him. That hit Gabe straight in the hands. That was a great ball through the open window. He basically bumped it up to the secondary defender, which great catch on his part. Maybe not the greatest decision making by Josh, probably somebody else more open, but that ball was dead on. So
Hey, you know what,
I don't
Andrew?
blame him for that, but
He
he
makes
threw
better
it and it got
decisions.
picked.
You make better decisions than my quarterback. He throws
Oh,
it
yeah.
5 yards short of the end zone.
Yeah.
And the fucking DB has to dive back for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right. You know, we'll talk about that though here in a
Yeah.
moment. Oh God. I give up.
Yeah. I'm not saying this is gonna be like a instant turnaround for the Buffalo Bills, but I do think with the personnel on our field at the current state of things without injury, what we were playing, the game of football that we were playing before the injuries happened was abysmal compared to ours. Like the amount of talent on the Buffalo Bills roster this year is insane. It's probably top 3 or 4 talented rosters in the league. Then you put injury on, that shit sucks. Happens every year to every team. But when your offense can't do anything and you have a top 5 quarterback in the league, a top 5 wide receiver in the league, one of the better looking tight end prospects in the league, and not a half bad wide receiver core backing up a very solid number 1 wide receiver, you can't be running the offense that we're running. It's insane. Yeah. So I think firing the offensive coordinator is probably going to help. I know a lot of people in Bills Mafia and Bills fans are very critical of Sean McDermott. I don't know how much he's playing into it, but at least we're doing something because we lost to the Patriots, we lost to the Jets, we've lost to the Broncos, we've lost to Jacksonville. Like
That's a rough. And
we have to play Philly,
Cowboys,
Dallas, Bengals, and Chiefs in the next 6 weeks. So
your next 5 games are, I think it's something like Dallas, Chiefs, Eagles, Cowboys, and somebody else. And the Chargers.
And the Chargers, yeah, exactly. And then we have to play the Jets and the Patriots again. So and the Dolphins again, I think too. I think we've only played each of our
Jets next week at the Eagles, at the Chiefs versus the Cowboys, at the Chargers, then Patriots, and then end the season at the Dolphins.
You are so fucked.
You got to win 5 out of 7 too, and
you have to win 7 out of 7 if you're going to be really holding yourself accountable. Like this team cannot lose a game. Like for who they're supposed to be, like you've already lost 5. People are saying you might lose 3 at the beginning of the season. Like if I'm the head coach, like we're not losing a game the rest of the season. And if we are, like everyone's running. Like they have to be. It's not even like poor playing, it's just discipline. Like they're dropping the ball on handoffs. High school guys can do this.
It's poor play too.
It's not, I'm not saying it's only bad discipline, but like when you look at like half the stuff where it's bad defensive penalties, like every single time the game comes down to the wire, it either is or should be pass interference. 12 man on the field, like not that the 12th man really did anything to make him miss the kick, but you basically just lost the game. Like
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you guys are 5-5. That is definitely not where I thought you guys would be sitting at this point in the year.
No.
Andrew's still fired up. I'm assuming
I've been fired up for weeks. I've been fired up for ever since we lost to Jacksonville, I've been pumped. Like I go into every game expecting us to lose by 30. Like and I'm screaming at the TV on the first drive. Like it's
man, you're a Patriot fan now. Good for you.
I'm a New England sports fan. I just happen to root for a non-New England team.
Well, you know what? The New England teams still suck too. It's okay.
True. Except the Celtics.
Time they finally suck. I feel no ill will that they're sucking right now. They've been good for the last decade.
Fair,
shut up.
I don't feel bad.
Your time to feel
Kevin,
the power. What?
Don't worry. We'll talk about it here because I made a question on for the NBA update. And after last night's game, I don't think they did figure it out.
All right, well, you're not going in order. We'll get to there, and I'll let my emotions speak when we get to that point in time.
All right, cool. Well, and all I'm wearing is West Virginia sweatshirt today.
No hat today. Oh,
no hat today. I didn't want to rub it in your face with a Celtics hat, so I was being nice.
I got the green Boston hat on.
There you go. See?
There you go.
We got some green Boston stuff going on. Joe Mack, you got anything? besides all your pops?
I got a Hennessy basketball in my background.
That's pretty cool.
That is fire. And I also see your MetLife football that I also have too.
Hennessy branded NBA basketball. So that's what I'm bringing to the table today, because I forgot the rules of engagement here on Manly Musings, where I have to wear something of interest. I'm just wearing a plain black dry fit t-shirt.
And you got relegated to the basement.
And I got relegated to the basement. But the basement's a better background. It's more sports than the pink walls and flower ombre that I had in my office.
Well, we'll talk about that. I did add that as a question in there. So let's jump into the sports update here. Patriots are aiming for that number 1 draft pick, boys. Here we go. I am so excited for the number 1 draft pick. That's all I'm looking forward to at this point.
Who do you take with the pick?
Well, Caleb Williams has already said that he will not play for any team except for like the Raiders, Giants, and a few other teams. Patriots are not on that list. So I'll take Drake May. I think he's a good quarterback. If we drop to like the 3rd pick, where we're projected right now, and the other 2 guys, Drake May and Caleb Williams, go first overall, first 1 and 2, you better freaking take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
If you do not, I will go find a new team.
Come to the Bills. We're kind of trash.
No.
You could be a Jets fan.
No.
The Dolphins.
We're in a perpetual state of kind of trash.
I love that the 3 of you are.
Each one of us is a different AFC East fan in this chat right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Believe so, yeah.
No, not me. I'm an AFC.
Oh, well, yeah,
fan.
AFC North.
He's a Steeler. No one wants to go there. Sorry, Kevin. I love you, but
Don't hate on my Steelers.
I can hate on them, but
I mean, they're making the playoffs right now.
yeah, they're in the playoffs.
At the moment.
Yeah.
But that Patriots Colts game was probably one of the worst games I've ever watched. If
Oh
you
my
guys
God.
watched any of it. It was abysmal. First drive, we moved the ball, running, just can't score in the red zone. By the end of the game, Mac Jones is throwing a ball 5 yards outside the end zone, even though Gesicki is wide open. All you need to do is nice lob pass, touchdown, you win the game. No one is yelling and screaming that we suck. Well, we still are saying that we suck, but not as bad as we are right now. And then Bailey Zappi goes in and does a fake fucking spike. I'm done.
I think the most entertaining point of that game was watching the dome go into the scoreboard. That's probably the most entertaining thing. Is it? I don't know if it happened in last week's game or in this week's game. They do a thing where they play Country Roads.
Yeah, they do it in
random point.
They did Sweet Caroline in the first quarter, and then Country Roads is third quarter.
Yeah, those are probably the most entertaining points of the game.
I was gonna say the break, the halftime like review of the other NFL games that were going to happen later in the day would probably be the most exciting part of that game. I was watching the game with my friends, and after the game, my friend said so we all went to my friend's house. We got there at like 8:45 in the morning, and one of my friends brought a blanket and went to sleep. And before the game, he goes, "This shit gonna be boring. Let me just sleep now." Goes to sleep. After the game, he wakes up, and one of my other friends is like, "Yo, I would have rather just watch him sleep the whole game." like we could have watched paint dry and it would have been more entertaining than that football game.
That game, for anyone that was a football fan, was horrible.
Yeah, definitely not entertaining at all. No offense, Merritt, but
none taken.
The Patriots need to really reevaluate what they're doing when it comes to drafting and developing quarterbacks. I think Stevenson is a serviceable running back.
Mm-hmm.
You have decent weapons with Gesicki and, Smith-Schuster. You have Demario Douglas as a receiver, all putting up decent numbers so far this year. But the Mac Jones-Bailey Zappi dynamic, I think the phrase is if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And very similar to what the Jets and Giants are going through right now. none of these teams have quarterbacks, and it's a shame because some of these players like Mac Jones, like Zach Wilson, like Daniel Jones have all been drafted high. A lot of draft picks, a lot of draft equity have gone into these players, and they're all just, for lack of a better term, shit in the bed.
No, I agree. I'm on the bandwagon of benching Mac, and I've been one of the biggest Mac supporters since we drafted him. But he has regressed so far at this point. I was listening to the Sports Hub the other day, and some guy called in and he's like, well, people don't take to the yelling and the screaming. I'm like, it's football. Shut the hell up. That's what happens in the game. You're getting
Alabama.
Yeah.
Talk about yelling and screaming.
Like, he can take the tough coaching. He just has totally gone from being what everyone thought he would be, a good, probably not your, end all be all after Tom Brady, but at least a serviceable quarterback for, 5, 6, 7+ years to get you to maybe someone that will be that next perennial, right? That would be the hope. That hope is gone now. I want Will Grier to start. I think Will Grier.
I was just going to ask, is Will Grier that much worse than these two quarterbacks right now?
I think he's better. To be truthfully honest, I think Will is a better quarterback than the two that are ahead of him.
Yeah. Did it trade for Josh Dobbs? They got him for like a 6th pick of the draft.
Yeah,
6th round pick.
Yeah, well, Josh Dobbs is going to go make some money after this season because of what he's been doing in Minnesota. So yeah, there's that. Now let's talk about the shortest quarterback in the NFL. He made his debut again. He's back.
Love it.
Little man.
And they won.
As did my fantasy football team.
Ooh, good for you. I lost all 4 games this week. I did great.
I beat Merritt this week. Absolutely
Let's
excited
go.
about that. Let's freaking go.
I was projected to kick your ass too.
Yeah.
That's what sucked. What I looked, I'm like, I was going to kick Kevin's ass. Nope, I just got blown out.
I dropped 170 and won by 40. My team's crazy. I feel like I mentioned this a few different times on the podcast. My team is insane. I'm gonna win.
Now I'm trying to fight for my playoff life. I've
already clinched
my leagues. The one league that Merritt is an extra in my league, I'm pretty much going to be eliminated soon. Because everybody just literally every team that I face in this one league literally has had their best game against my team. Like by far, and
points against is through the roof.
Yeah, it's out of control. But shout out to Kyler Murray for coming back. It's been a while since we've seen him play, and who knows?
He looks good.
Yeah, and honestly,
moving.
If those Cardinals start winning some games, then maybe, if you're a New York Football Giants fan and you start losing a little bit more, maybe you might have a chance at a number 1 pick. But hey, never know.
Yeah, because the Giants and Patriots are tied for 2nd right now. So it's Giants, Cardinals, Patriots, all 2-8, Panthers 1-8 because they already had their bye. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a fight to first. I'll tell you that when it comes to the draft. Because
let's go. Yeah. I will fight anyone right now. I want that number 1 pick.
My team is worse than your team.
It's pretty damn close on how bad my team is.
But man, can you imagine if Carolina ends up being like the worst team again to get number 1 overall? I hope they don't.
Doesn't Chicago get theirs? If they
Carolina doesn't get it. Chicago.
They didn't even get their number 1 pick. Even if they go back-to-back years as the number 1 pick, they don't get it.
Oh my God.
That franchise is in purgatory. Like I don't know how they're gonna get out of this.
I mean, it just makes Bryce Young look so bad.
Yeah,
because CJ Stroud looks so
good.
Oh my God. They made that offense perfect for CJ.
So it's like I want to give Bryce a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he can be a very serviceable quarterback somewhere in like the maybe top 12 to 15 quarterbacks in the league. Someone that you build a roster around him. You have a solid defense. Carolina could be the NFC South Division champ eventually in a year or two. So I'll give Bryce all the time in the world. But man, CJ Stroud looks good. Looks good.
A lot of
Making
people want him for
guys
D&D.
names over in Houston, making a guy like what's his name? The
Tank Dell?
receivers that are on there. Tank Dell. And what's the other one?
1 sec.
You have the kid from Alabama, John Mechie, who
Yup.
was
yeah.
literally drafted and then was away from football for a year and a half, battling
That's-
leukemia.
Yeah.
There's another one. He's on he's on a lot of fantasy teams.
Nico Collins. That's
Yes.
who you're thinking
Mhm.
of.
Making him a star right now.
They have
Yeah.
Noah Brown. He went off this week. He
Oh.
had like 2 receptions for 30+ yards or something.
Yeah.
They have Robert Woods still.
Dalton Schultz, the tight end.
Yeah.
Yep. They've got Damian Pierce still. Then they got Singletary a few years ago from Buffalo.
He had a game last week too, 150 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good. They were feeding him the ball in the run game.
Yeah.
And then their offensive line isn't half bad either. So,
They've done a very, very good job of building through the draft and bringing
Yeah.
in serviceable and quote unquote cheap veterans to help
And then
these
they're-
other guys grow.
their new coach is great. He's pulling everything together really well.
D'Amico Ryans, former linebacker.
Yeah, Ryan's is good. So we'll see. I'm excited. Texans have a bright future. I might, they stole the Patriot colors, so they have half the
I've heard
Patriots'
they're-
old staff. I might just go watch Texans from now on.
They've been talking about rebranding their franchise for 3 years now, and last year they confirmed they were going to do a whole uniform rebrand. And some people are saying that it's going to involve like a whole new logo, a whole new color scheme, and everything. So they might not be red, white, and blue anymore.
Yeah. I heard they might be going back to the Oilers.
They
I
can't.
heard that too.
Houston
But I also
Oilers.
heard that Tennessee won't sell them the name. I heard that.
Yeah, they
too.
can't. They
'Cause
won't.
the Titans own the name, the franchises.
Yeah, that'll never happen because it's technically their history, their organization. So that'll sadly never occur. Unless the Titans literally just fold and they need money.
I mean, if the Texans give them enough money, they might.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people outside of like football executives still associate the Oiler name with the city of Houston.
Yeah.
Even if they did play 1 season in Tennessee with it, a lot of people still don't really care about that. So I don't know.
And
I'm
plus
not,
those
like,
baby
outlash.
blues, that baby blue jersey, man,
Bad.
is
They should wear that uniform all the time. That should be their uniform. Someone
I say
has
the
to
same
wear that.
same thing with the Chargers. When the Chargers are
Yeah.
in those baby blues,
Mm-hmm.
color blue
Oh.
Charger jerseys is what they need to wear every single week.
Mhm.
Period.
I won't lie. I wish they would just all wear one color. Everyone wear a different color. I would love the Browns to wear their all white jerseys now.
They need to
I-
do that, but they need to make the helmet match.
Right.
The helmet's a different white. And it's bad, but it's a cool uniform. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's my only interview.
So, Kevin, congratulations to your Steelers on a huge win. That I did not see coming. No offense, but that interception at the end was phenomenal.
Out of control. Absolutely out of control. And we just named
Yeah, I just tried to
new
pick him up.
starter at running back because Najee Harris has been absolutely putrid.
Trash.
Yep.
So
Trash.
hey, I give it up to Mike Tomlin. He's not afraid to do the hard decision when he has to do it. But yeah, just kind of a shame that Najee's been so bad this year that now we're going to somebody younger, and who knows what's gonna be the state of Najee on the team. But yeah, we're gonna rock with Warren for week 10, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, great win. Steelers are now, I think they're 500 if I remember correctly.
Steelers are 6-3, my friend.
Wait,
Yeah, you're 6-3.
6-3.
long.
The
6-3, and we're only 1 game behind the Ravens. So hey,
Yeah,
We,
everyone.
we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it and rock with it.
That it's
That
what
division's crazy.
7-2.
7-3.
7-3, 6-3, 6-3, and
5-4.
5-4.
And the Bengals are on the outside looking in right now only because the Texans have the tie break based on head-to-head win percentage.
Yep.
I didn't know that off the top of my head. I'm just reading it off
Good.
of ESPN. So
Hey.
That's so
That's
crazy
awesome.
because it's like everyone called out that the Bengals were going to be at the top of this division and the Steelers were going to be at the bottom. And now how times have changed. And it's like the roles have been reversed with me and Andrew. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's out of control. And Merritt's Patriots too. So, the only one that has remained supreme is Joe's Dolphins.
well, listen, we haven't beaten a team over 500 yet this season.
Yep.
So I don't talk smack. I just watch football right now.
Yeah. Until they beat somebody of significance.
Listen, a win is a win in the NFL.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah.
A win over the Chargers is the same as a win over the Broncos is the same as a win over the Chiefs. It doesn't matter. But we haven't proved ourselves yet because our losses are against the Bills where we got the doors blown off, against the Eagles where we got the doors blown off, and then last week in Germany against the Chiefs where in the first half of the game we got the doors blown off. So we need to play competitive. It's a huge game coming up this week for the Dolphins against the Raiders. Luckily, we're home for that one. And then we travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets on Black Friday, the first ever NFL game on Black Friday, which will be interesting.
Super interesting.
Are you guys both working that day?
I'll be there.
I will not be there
No,
because
you'll be working the normal job.
yes.
Oh, yeah. God bless.
God bless you for that.
What happened to Andrew?
I don't know. Did he just disappear?
He was like
Houdini.
mid saying something and then just bounced. He pulled a Kevin.
Well, I text him. So he'll see if he joins back up. And then I do want to ask this question because after watching them dismantle the Giants yet again, are the Cowboys truly the real deal this year? Are they finally making that push? Because CD Lamb looks to be potentially the best wide receiver in the NFL with Tyreek.
And A.J. Brown.
And AJ Brown. Because that catch by CD Lamb, that one-handed fucking catch, I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times to believe that he caught it.
Yeah.
So, are they?
They're the real deal. They're the real deal. But the issue is we have this recency bias in our heads as fans of teams that are not the Cowboys, where we've only really experienced them getting dismantled and having heartbreak losses in the playoffs to the 49ers or the Packers or, recent losses in the playoffs is what sticks with us. And then if you go back before the Dak Prescott era and you go into the Tony Romo era, only thing that I think of is when he fumbled the extra point and went to go run for the 2 and got tackled and they lost to the Seahawks that way. So it's just like a lot of playoff heartbreak recency bias for the Cowboys. But am I crazy to think Dak Prescott's maybe 1, 2, or 3 when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL right now? He's tearing it up. 70% completion percentage, 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, another 200 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. He's not making the mistakes we expect Dak Prescott to make.
Yeah, he hasn't made those mental errors like he has in years past. But I will agree, Joe, it has been more of like that playoff bias that they've been blown out. They're not that good, blah, blah, blah. Because when we were kids, they did dominate.
Right.
But that was an early part of our childhood. So we really don't remember that. All that we get to see now is a team that plays well during the regular season and falters near the end. And then all of a sudden is not a playoff contender, can't make it out of the first round, can't even make the playoffs. So
what I will say about them is their schedule gets significantly easier the next few weeks at Carolina versus Washington, and then it's Seattle. Yes, you have Philadelphia for a second time on that list towards the middle of December, but you have Buffalo, who, let's be frank, doesn't look like a good football team right now. You have Miami, who, let's be frank, hasn't beat a 500 record winning percentage yet this season. And then you have Washington again to close out the season. So of the remaining 2, 4, 6, 8 games, I could see them winning another 5, 6, even 7 if they go on a run.
Yeah, I could. I won't count out the Commanders though. Those guys, Sam Howell is looking like the real deal because he and CJ Stroud have the most passing yards at this point in time.
It's because their teams are always behind and they got to play catch up.
They weren't behind when the Patriots played them. The Patriots just couldn't catch up to them. But yeah, that's not the point. But awesome. Let's jump over to the NBA. Kevin, this question is mainly for you because you're the only one here that's a Lakers fan. What the heck is going on with them?
I mean, we've gone through this the last couple of years. It's just like they need like a month or two to get their lives together before they actually realize, oh snap, we need to actually like get to the playoffs first, and then we'll start competing. But right now, LeBron he's not playing a lot of minutes, but he's still putting up numbers like he's in his early 20s, which is absolutely out of control. I found like a random stat where they had people who were playing in like their like 20 something season, and then like the points average. LeBron's the only one that was in double figures, and it was by a landslide out of everybody else. So I wish I could give you a reason on why, but I just think right now this is just a typical Lakers way to start off since we've had LeBron. It's, we have a lot of new players that came aboard, so they're trying to get back in sync with each other. Guys like Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood. We're trying to figure out where these guys fit and where their roles are. But the key is, I think right now, the key is to make it to the playoffs. I think the Lakers can be really scary, especially if Anthony Davis doesn't like have anyone sneeze on him, or like he doesn't like break his ankle by like walking, like
or jumping.
If they can stay healthy, I can say the Lakers can compete with anyone, or at least majority with everyone. They might get blown out by like the Denvers, the Phoenixes, but everybody else, I think they can put up a fight with them in a 7-game series, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's still super early. We're 9-10 games into the season. The objective for a team like the Lakers, where, let's be honest, year number 21 or 22 for LeBron James, it's not about playing 40, 45 minutes a game anymore. It's about getting to that finish line, which is the playoffs. We saw it last year in the first and second rounds. They were the underdogs, but because LeBron was fresh, AD was playing, they made it to the conference finals. Yeah, they eventually got swept by the defending reigning champion Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, but they made it to the Western Conference Finals. They were one of the final 4 teams. To kind of piggyback off the stat that Kevin was talking about, I saw a stat a couple days ago, October 29th, 2003, and then October 29th, 2023, LeBron played the Kings both games, and it was 20 years apart.
That's great.
In 2003, it was 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists as a rookie. And then in 2023, 20 years later, 27 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. So the consistency this man has had over 21, 22 seasons is, I have no other phrase for it besides obnoxious.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Unreal. Absolutely.
That is unreal. Damn. Well, I hope the Lakers can figure it out because I'd love to see the Lakers Celtics finals and the Celtics just beat the crap out of them. No offense, Kevin. It's what I would love to see. Yeah. Great way to get to our 18th championship and just rub it in the Lakers' face.
Yes. Yeah. Let's move on. 76ers look great. Harden is floundering on the Clippers. Yeah. So, like I said it on the last podcast when this deal happened, pretty much the Clippers did all that work just get bounced out of the first round again.
Oh,
Harden
yeah.
looks like crap. Like everyone saw that one pass where he passed to Ian Eagle in Brooklyn. Maybe they'll get better over the year and they'll get better over time as the season goes on. But I'm just still convinced that the Clippers did all that stuff for nothing.
I love the video. I think it was from the other night. And Westbrook was in and it was like getting down to the final 2 minutes of the game. And they subbed Westbrook out for Harden. And Westbrook's running off the court like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm actually scoring. Harden hasn't scored yet. Like, it is horrendous to watch. And the 76ers are looking damn good without Harden on that team.
Yeah, the 7-1 right now. Is that correct?
They are
all?
7-1 or 8-1 right now. They are the number one team according to the power rankings.
8-1.
Yeah, so
They lost their first game to the Bucks and have won 8 straight.
yeah, and Embiid is looking like the lead MVP candidate. Granted, it's 2 weeks into the season, but he's averaging like 37 points a game, 12 boards, and I think like 4 or 5 assists a game. So he's looking good. So I'll take it. It makes it for more fun for Kevin and I to watch basketball to a degree, depending on how our teams want to play. We'll talk about Kevin. Do you want to talk about your team first? Or do you want to talk about my team first?
No, you've been talking a lot, so you're gonna keep talking. Talk about your Celtics, so I
Oh
can
my
get
God.
my next.
Okay, so Celtics lost 2 games in a row. It happens. Whatever. I'd rather them lose these 2 games now than later in the year when they count more for playoff seeding. But yeah, it's all right. Last night they played the Knicks, and it was a close game. I didn't watch any of the actual game because it was blocked out here in New York because I have YouTube TV and it wasn't on NBA TV because it was on MSG network. Stupid. So dumb.
You are in the state of New York, so of course it's going to be on MSG Network first. You got to take the local.
I don't care. Keep it on everything. Like, let's be real. I don't want to watch any New York stuff.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Merritt.
I know. I'm just complaining. But the game was good, Kevin. I rewatched it this morning during work, and honestly, it was a good game up until really 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden the Celtics figured out how to play basketball again, scored a bunch of points. Jason Tatum got a technical for clapping really hard at the ref, and the ref got offended. So yeah.
Can we talk about refereeing in the NBA real quick?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go, because I hate every little bit of this refereeing at this point.
When you slam dunk the ball, score a basket, and you posterize somebody, it's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Yes.
When you come down and land on your feet and you either do a little stare or a little scream, it's part of the game.
Agreed.
Why does that need to be penalized with a technical? There's no violence. There's no pushing. You came down, you slam dunked, and you went, ah. You're not showboating. You're not overly exonerated. It's just, come on. Like, somebody had that last night. They slam dunked on somebody, and before their feet touched the ground, they got a technical for unsportsmanship.
Is that the one with Anthony Edwards?
Yes. Anthony Edwards.
I didn't see that. He got a technical for dunking.
He got a technical. He dunked on somebody, and then like when he landed, he was doing like a stare. No words, no cursing, no violence, nothing. And he got teed up for staring.
All right, Adam Silver.
Like that should be something like some sort of rule change. Like they got to have a more defined way to like call a technical, or like maybe change their definition of quote unquote taunting, because like it is part of the game. Like that energy, you kind of just can't help it. Like I understand the whole technical foul when they're like hanging on the rim and such, or like somebody gets in the person's way while they're like trying to drop down. But yeah, it's annoying like that a player has to get penalized because he's showing just a little bit of emotion.
Or even like using Tatum from last night. He gets upset by a call, and all he does is clap his hands hard, right? You watch the video, that's all he does. And all of a sudden it's a technical. Like,
Silly.
no emotions allowed. The one that was ridiculous for me was, I think it was during the game that you and I went to, Kevin, in Brooklyn, and Jaylen Brown literally dunked the ball with 2 hands and held the rim for a second, let go, and then got a technical for hanging on the rim because his body goes this way. Momentum took him, so he holds onto the rim a little longer so he doesn't flip on his back. Like, I know Adam Silver will never listen to this podcast, but bro, figure some shit out.
You don't know that.
That's true. He might. So figure some shit out and fix this, because this is god awful. Yeah. It's not watchable sometimes. But we digress. Kevin, your Knicks, they actually look good. It looks like they've kind of figured some stuff out. Just cannot close out against the Celtics, which I appreciate, because last year you beat us every time you could.
And we were there.
I know.
I got to watch the Knicks beat the Celtics in the Garden, the TD Garden. Honestly, that's got to be one of my favorite, like, to go-to sports that I've had in a while. Other than watching the backyard brawl for West Virginia and Pitt and watching Dub V win, watching the Knicks on the road beat the Celtics, that is like, holy shit, like, pinnacle. But I digress. Slower start this year for the Knicks. We're 5-5. I think it's just trying to get the guys back into rhythm. Julius only averaging like 14 a game right now, as opposed to the 20 plus he was averaging. Jalen Brunson, in my opinion, if the Knicks are going to get an all-star, Jalen Brunson should be the all-star this year. And I know guys like have been kind of getting out. They're a little banged up. RJ Barrett was out the game yesterday, so that would have been a different game if he was there, because you wouldn't have to have someone like Josh Hart start. He's way better on the bench, come off as a bench player. But I can't really complain about our Knicks, because the Knicks will eventually. I feel like with the way they've been going the last couple of years, this is the beginning of the year. They go through this rough patch, and then there's going to be some point where they start to turn it on. I like who they have in DiVincenzo, a little bit more, get that defense, 3-and-D guy there. But I think what's really going to be the talking point of the Knicks starting to really elevate is if someone like RJ Barrett is going to elevate to being that true, like, third scorer. He needs to be averaging like 20 plus points a game, every game, not like 31 game, then all of a sudden he gets like 4 the next. Like, he needs to be way more consistent, because that's what they expected of him in his development when they drafted him number 3 that year. So, which is kind of crazy to think about from that draft of who was drafted. Like, right now, RJ is the one guy that's really doing it right now, because Zion is, living his good life. And then number 2 was that Ja, right? Ja
Morant.
Ja was number 2, and right now he's going to be out for another couple months.
Another 15 games to miss.
Yeah, so RJ, I think this is the year if he needs to really, truly elevate. If he doesn't, then that's where we're going to need to shake things up again.
I think for the Knicks, 2 things need to happen, and they tie into each other very well. Right now, Julius Randle is leading the team in minutes played, 34 minutes per game.
Oh my God.
And he's only scoring 18 points a game because his shooting percentage is 33% from the field. Every 3 shots he takes, he only makes 1. Because of that, Jalen Brunson's assists per game is only 4.3. He's usually sitting around the 7-8 mark when it comes to assists. So if Randle, who's playing 34 minutes a game, has 10 games played and 10 starts, if he can make half of the misses and get up to that 60% from the field, which is very doable for a quote-unquote big man like himself, that will allow Jalen Brunson to be a better facilitator because the passes he's making are actually going in for baskets. And it'll take a little bit less pressure off of the Mitchell Robinsons, the RJ Barretts, the Josh Harts, the Emmanuel Quigleys of the team, because Julius Randle's got to be a 20 and 10 guy. He's 18 and 10 right now. He's got to average 20, 22, 24 points a game for this Knicks team to look good.
Yeah.
Agreed. And he needs to not have any of those moments where if he gets upset, he can't mope back on defense. He needs to continue to play solid. He needs to continue to play, and he needs to not let his emotions get the best of him. I need to just throw that in there.
No, I would agree to both of what you guys just said. I think they'll figure it out. If Barrett can make that step, it's a huge change for the team. It helps you guys out more. Does it make you guys scarier? Yes, to a degree, but you also need Randle to be getting you less minutes and more points in those less minutes. He needs to be more effective because Brunson's great, but he cannot carry that load. And granted, we said Julius only averaging 18. He did score 25 last night and actually looked pretty decent for a majority of the game. So I'll give him that. So he'll figure it out. The team will figure it out. And they'll probably be a 4 or 5 seed, I would assume, by the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see them. I could see them having a 4 seed.
Yeah, I think we projected that. I projected them as a 4 seed this year too.
So we'll have 3 teams potentially from our conference itself in the top 4.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Cool with that. Let's move on again to some soccer. That's West Virginia soccer related. The boys did lose to Marshall 3-2 in the Sun Belt Championship game this past weekend. So they did sadly not get to retain the number 1 overall seed for this tournament, but they are number 5. They will host, I think it's either Virginia or somebody else. I don't remember.
Or Dayton.
Dayton?
Yeah, Dayton's one of them. I know that.
Yeah, so they'll I think that game's this weekend actually. So good luck to West Virginia men's soccer. See what you guys can do. It'd be awesome to see a national championship in something that's not rifle for their school. And then the women's team beat Pitt. And they're 2-0.
Well, at least somebody undefeated in basketball.
Hey, the guys are playing right now.
Jacksonville State, they're up 40-27 at half.
Jacksonville State's winning?
No,
Oh.
Virginia's somehow winning.
You scared me because I would assume that we're losing.
Well, yeah, shout out to the ladies beating Pitt. Whatever the new coach is, Coach Kellogg, new team, new brought in some people from where he was over at Stephen F. Austin. They're putting in some work. So we gotta keep up. Let's see how they're doing this year. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Oh, 100%. Well, let's talk the other shittier side of West Virginia right now. We got blown out. Oh God, Joe's over here. He's ready. He's
so happy I'm on this podcast episode.
He is so ready for this. We score on the opening drive. Phenomenal. Score 7 points, 7-0. Then Oklahoma just takes the ball and runs it down our throats. 7-7. Can't do anything. Punt. I think we punted or we turned it over?
The first one we punted. Then Oklahoma scored again. Then turned it over. Then Oklahoma scored again.
And then the only plus side to everything was they did muff a punt and we did get the ball then. That was good. But otherwise, 20-59. Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
We just don't have the talent. The talent disparity between us and Oklahoma is like David versus Goliath. It's crazy. And David at least beat Goliath. We just couldn't beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think the move from the Big East for you guys a few years ago was the right move. You guys went, Rutgers went, I think Maryland as well went from the ACC to form this new conference. The super
That year it was so Syracuse and Pitt went to the ACC, then us, and at the time TCU, who was going to the Big East, got out of their contract to come with us to the Big 12.
Yeah,
Right.
because they were in.
You guys went to the Big 12.
Yeah, to the Mountain West. TCU was owning the Mountain West.
Right.
The big three up top, Texas, Oklahoma State, which is going to be changing next year when Texas goes to the SEC.
And
And Oklahoma too.
And Oklahoma are in a class of their own. And I think you take your losses and you move on in a matchup like this. Dylan Gabriel is a Heisman caliber winning quarterback right now. 423 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had a 97 QBR out of 100, which I think that's pretty good. That's an A plus. If you're scoring a Spanish midterm exam, a 97 is a good score. Listen, there's nothing to cry home about. Did you guys think you were going to win this game? I don't think West Virginia thought that. You're 6-4. You already are bowl eligible, which is a huge step in the right direction when it comes to West Virginia. And you beat Pittsburgh this year already. So
yeah, I think a lot of us. I think Kevin and I touched on it last week. I think we thought we could. There was a potential that we could go out and beat them because other teams had shown how to beat Oklahoma. Or to compete against them, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't that. Oklahoma came out pissed.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to remember, we beat Oklahoma last year for the first time ever, and those same players on that Oklahoma team are still there. So
hey, not ever. We did beat them with Bill Stewart.
Well, first time ever when we were in the Big 12.
Big 12, yes.
What I was referencing.
Yes.
I know about that other beatdown. That was a great beatdown. But the one thing is that we definitely thought it would be a little bit more of a fight, but the talent that Oklahoma has, it's just kind of undeniable.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this as, hey, you lost to Oklahoma. It is what it is. We play Cincinnati this week. So the most important thing is to see how we rebound. Yep. We're very fortunate that this last couple of games are against very, very beatable teams.
Cincinnati and Baylor.
Yeah, they're both on the bottom of the conference. So there's a way that we could end before even going to the bowl game 9-4, which in my opinion,
8-4.
8-4, right? 8-4. And I don't think I would have ever dreamed that we would even reach the number 8 for wins.
Yeah. No.
Anywhere close. If you go back to the season 2, when we made predictions, I'm pretty sure, Merritt, you said we would only win 3 games. And I think I maybe said 4 to 5.
Yeah, I think I said 3 to 4, and you were like 4 or 5 in that area. I was like, hold.
And what I think is also more important, yes, if you win out, you're 8-4, but then you're also 6-3 in conference. And at a 6-3 record, you might be looking at Iowa State ahead of you, Oklahoma State, and Texas. So 2 of those 4 teams aren't going to be in the conference next year. So if West Virginia continues the right moves and doing a hell of a job recruiting and getting, 4 or 5-star recruits now that they're in that Big 12 conference, who knows what this could mean for the future of West Virginia. And this time next year, we could be looking at, instead of the 6-4 West Virginia Mountaineers, maybe the 8-2, 9-1 West Virginia Mountaineers in this conference.
Very, very true. Because then I think you have Colorado coming next year. You have Arizona State coming in. Utah coming in. That's another 4 teams coming in, which in my opinion, the way that they're looking this year, we're all kind of very, very evenly placed in how our teams are. So if we can kind of keep it together, but I think really what's going to determine all that is what happens to his coaching staff at the end of this year.
You don't fire him unless he loses the next 2 games badly. No,
You would
he-
hope that they don't fire him, but you never
No,
know.
they-
This is
they
crazy.
won't. They won't because he got him to a bowl.
Yes.
And if he didn't go bowling, he's gone. I think we all agreed to that. Right now, if you look at the Big 12 standings, like Joe Mack said, Texas is 1, Oklahoma's 2, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas. Those are your top 6 teams. We fall at number 7. I take that. We were projected to be in 14th.
I know. How crazy is
14.
that? That's crazy.
Two out of those 6 teams are no longer being in the conference, like Joe said. We're going to get 4 additional teams that, let's be honest, are scrubs. Utah is the best out of them all that's joining, and they still are having a down year for what they've been the past few years. We could still be, out of 16 teams next year, we could still be top 6, top 7.
I think top 5. I even say top 5.
Yeah,
Some of those teams coming in, Colorado had a hot start this year. They didn't do good.
No.
Arizona State, neither of them are very competitive in this season. Their recruits aren't going to be getting much better for next season. I think, is it UCF is joining as well?
UCF joined this past year.
UCF joined. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you're better than 2/3 of the conference. That's going to be the conference next year.
Yeah.
You finish this season on 2 good regular season wins. You have a good, strong performance in a bowl game against another, 9-3, 9-4 type team. And you head into the offseason on the recruit trail. I think West Virginia has a bright future in the Big 12.
Yep, I agree. Well, we'll see. Hopefully it's brighter than basketball, because we lost to Monmouth. And
so this is the real reason I was rubbing my hands before.
Oh, God.
Monmouth Hawks of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Joe McGrath, Monmouth University, class of 2012.
Amazing.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, God. I got to mute him. I don't want to listen to this.
Do you know what's crazy? So I got a text from my nephew who goes there. He's like, "Hey, make sure you tune in." And I had an event that I went to at my gym. So I was like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to catch it." So I look on my phone and I could not believe my eyes. I had to make sure I refreshed the screen to make sure that I was looking at it correctly. Because it said at one point it was like 72-59 Monmouth Hawks with 2.5 minutes left in the game. And I go, all right, maybe that's like the first half or something. But no, there's no first halves. It said second half. And I'm like, oh, we're really about to lose this game.
Yeah. What I will say, I haven't been following Monmouth sports all season, football, basketball. I just hasn't really been my jam this year. The point guard, Xander Rice for Monmouth.
He was going to come to West Virginia.
He's King Rice's son. He's the head coach's son. He's a 5th-year senior.
Yeah.
He has that COVID year he's playing. 30 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, played 37 out of 40 minutes. This kid knows how to play. It's in his dad, King Rice, the head coach, was one of Dean Smith's shining stars at UNC back in the 80s and early 90s. He was at one point led all North Carolina Tar Heels in the history of the game in all career assists and stuff. So playing basketball in this game of basketball is in Xander Rice's blood. Monmouth has had some of those games in the past where, they beat UCLA at UCLA a few years ago. They beat Georgetown at Georgetown. They lost to Kentucky by less than 10 points in Kentucky. So it's they've had some really good showings in the past under King Rice, and having someone who literally shares the same name as King Rice in Xander Rice being the floor general is a really nice thing to see. I know this podcast is very West Virginia centric, so I'm going to shut up now, but I'm very proud of my Monmouth Hawks.
Hey,
shout out to the Monmouth Hawks, because I remember that one year when they got famous for all the bench celebrating.
Yeah.
Bench mob, baby.
And it's actually funny because one of the trainers at my gym, her boyfriend is a former player on the Monmouth Hawks, which I thought was crazy. And yeah, I just shout out to the Monmouth Hawks for doing it up. They earned that victory. But the one thing I want to talk about, which is an issue for our basketball team, Merritt, check out this minutes calculation of that game.
Yeah.
So you had a player play 39, 35, 34, 33, 27, 25, with two other guys playing 4 minutes and 3 minutes.
That's god awful.
That is a lot of minutes to be playing after they just played that same amount of minutes a couple of days before.
Yeah.
So pretty much you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 people that aren't playing, and we need to get some of those players back. It's not winning basketball to play 6 players that many minutes. You're doomed. You need at least like 7, 8, maybe a 9th guy to like get through some of these games.
Well, we weren't anticipating a cook to have it. What happened to him? Now, granted, there are a lot of reasons why he was still in the transfer portal is because he does have health issues. That is documented. Something that I heard was that is it Kristoff or however you say his name? Chris? Krista, thank you. They already knew that he was going to potentially be suspended. So they already knew all of that. So they had that issue arise. And then the battle one, that one just sucks because okay. Sorry, my wife just sent me something. And you know, this team has the players on the bench that are supposed to be starting.
Yep.
They're not, and the guys that are playing in the role besides Jesse, and I don't even know who else technically would be a starter out there with Jesse, are your guys that should be coming off the bench to give you 10 to 15 minutes a night.
Well, they've most likely who's starting. It's supposed to be Slazinski, Edwards. It would have been Raekwon, Cook, and Kirk Kriisa. So think about that. Like Slazinski is doing what he's supposed to do, but the guys like Kobe Johnson, Seth Wilson, Josiah Harris, a lot of them look to them more of like as bench guys. And
yeah,
it's kind of scary. I mean, us losing to Monmouth is not a good look. We're currently up right now, 47-29, second half on ESPN Plus. We can only hope that was just simply just a bad luck game, and hopefully they just learn from that and we can just move on, and that will just unfortunately be a blemish in the record. Maybe Monmouth ends up being super, super good this year, can win their conference or top in their conference, and it makes the whole RPI deal better.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see. It's still really early in the season.
I said we got a guest. Shout out to Colt out here.
Yeah, my boy Colt.
Hi, buddy.
Say hi, Colt.
Say what's up. Yeah, crushing it. Love your Instagram.
At Colt says woof.
I keep my dogs out of my office when I record because they'll be all over me. I think they've come in a few times.
I love it.
Well, Joe Mac, since you are here,
yes,
you got to ask the question: how are things going? How's the wifey feeling? How's the baby's room cut? How are all those questions? I've gotten them for the past like 8 months. So
you're ready. You're ready to go now. Like your bags should be packed, ready to roll. I'm
what bag?
Halfway home tomorrow.
That's awesome.
20 weeks tomorrow, which is really exciting. So trying to get all my ducks in a row with work and like set everybody up for success. Yes, I know I still got months, but better safe than sorry, especially with holiday around. Mm-hmm. And I know like trying to set the house up properly. We have the nursery we're going to repaint. We have like the quiet room we're making, which is where the office was, just to like have a rocking chair and somewhere we could feed my daughter eventually. So it's cool. I'm excited. My wife's excited. She's a superhero, let alone a really good English teacher and a really good essentially a personal trainer herself, which is pretty cool. So she's killing it. She's upstairs tutoring right now another student over Zoom. So the McGraths are literally getting after it tonight.
Good
Love
for
it.
you guys. That's awesome. Well, good. I'm happy to hear things are going smoothly. It is fun. My bag is yet to be packed because I have no idea what I'm supposed to put in it. So I'm just waiting for my wife to tell me.
A lot of sweats, a lot of socks, deodorant, and your Xbox or PlayStation if you could fit it.
There you go.
I will bring my PS2. I don't have an Xbox. I don't have any of that. I just have my old school PS2.
They'll question it in like the early 2000s. There you go, man.
Dude, best gaming console ever sold. Most numbers sold ever. I'll take it every day of the week. Well, that's awesome, Joe. Happy to have you here again. So we kind of touched on it, but I know we're going to probably do a deeper dive into college basketball with Cyrus, of course, whenever we have him back on.
Cyrus. Shout out my boy Cyrus.
Yes.
But I thought since we started, college basketball has already started, I thought we'd just have some fun with it tonight. Quick rundown of how it's looking so far, who's overall looking like the best team after the first week, the pretender, the Final Four, all that fun stuff. So I'll give you guys a minute if you have not figured out your answers yet, and we shall go from there. But in the meantime, I don't know. Kevin, you got anything else?
I mean, like I said, I didn't look at our script until I turned on because I was busy making your reel that will be coming out when we're done posting. But to answer your question, your first question, who is looking like the best team overall? I'll list two teams right now. Kansas Jayhawks are looking good. They're just firing all cylinders, which it's something I fully expect because they are the Jayhawks. And the reigning defending champions and the UConn Huskies. I was able to catch a little bit of their game the other day, and they're looking good. They are looking good. Shout out to my other nephew, Bryce, who is rocking out in UConn for his senior year. So he's living the good life, watching some UConn basketball at its finest. But those are two teams that I think are looking really good at the moment.
Also, sorry to see the UConn women's team lost the other night.
And not only they lost, and LSU lost, number 1 to Colorado, which I think we talked about last week.
We did. All right, Joe Mac, who do you think are the top teams so far?
Obviously, you go with your Kansases, your Purdue's, Arizona, our top 3. But I have my eye, besides the reigning defending champs, UConn. I'm a big UConn fan, have been since the Rip Hamilton, Ray Allen days. But I'm really big on the Houston Cougars this year. 3-0 so far. Big wins, 84-31, 82-50, 79-48. I think LJ Cryer, their point guard, is probably going to be one of the players of the year candidates. He's averaging 15 points per game. He's leading the team in minutes with 31, and he's not turning the ball over, which is the most important thing as a guard at the college level. It's only 1 turnover per game, almost 2 steals per game, almost 3 assists per game. So he's getting the things done that you need your guard to get done. He's a senior point guard, 6'1", out of Katy, Texas. He's the leader of the team, and I think this team is a very, very good, potent offensive basketball team. Houston Cougars.
Let's see if they can pull it off this year. That'd be great. I'm going to go with my home team, my favorite team, and that's not West Virginia, is UNC. They fell off last year after being ranked number 1, and then wasn't ranked after I think week 3 last year. This year they're up to, depending on the poll you look at, either number 20 or number 18. So back at the end of the pack right now, but they also have some returners there. Oh God, Baycott, but I can't remember how to say his stupid name. Why do I suck at this stuff? Armando Baycott, he's leading the team with points and rebounds. He's a double-double machine. He's got 23.5 points per game and 16.5 rebounds a game. RJ Davis is good as well. I know they lost, who's it? Blackley to the NBA. So he's gone, but they have definitely retooled. Kevin, the best part is James Okonkwo, who left West Virginia, is only played 1 minute per game so far. So yeah, he's doing real good over at UNC after leaving us. Good for you, James. But I'll go with them. And then for some reason, I've always loved the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah.
And watching them last year, the team had a high-powered offense. They're a little bit on the older side. They have kind of retooled. They have younger individuals in there. They're 2-0. They blew out their first opponent, and then they beat Wisconsin, who actually, before I jumped on here, was getting their butts handed to them by Providence. So great to see. But I would say keep an eye on those two teams right there. I think you'll have a sneaky feeling that something will happen with them down the stretch.
They're leading Wofford right now by 16 with 3 minutes left. So Tennessee's all but 3-0 at this point.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Let's do out of the top 25 for this question. Who's the pretender right now in this top 25 that we have? Who's the biggest pretender?
Duke. Excuse me, I sneezed. I can't be. Yes, it was Arizona that they lost to. Yes, it was a single possession or maybe 4 or 5 points that they lost. But I'm not big on Duke. They're playing Michigan State right now. It's a close game in the second, 35-31, Duke's up. But this time next year, I might be singing a different song now that they've got 2 of the top 5 recruits in the country going to be joining their team next year. But ever since Coach K left, it's just not been the same. And no other program, he's had prestigious and, he's won national championships and a ton of players getting drafted. But I'm not into Duke this year. I don't feel that they have what it takes to be a contender this year. I think they're a pretender.
Wow. Well, I don't like Duke at all, so I will jump on that bandwagon. They destroyed a team in New Hampshire by like 40 points, so good for you guys. They lost to Arizona by 5, and like you said, they're barely beating Michigan State, who, to be honest, Michigan State's not. That first loss was tough to James Madison, so we'll see. But
I'm going to go for mine, if I may.
Of course.
I'm going to go pretender as of right. So they look good right now.
Mm-hmm.
But this might bite me in the butt later on. But I still can't get over the way those Purdue Boilermakers went out last year. And I feel like we're just going to get teased along this string that Zach Edey is going to be crushing it, and then they're just going to get knocked out by a random team from a school we never heard of again. So I read the stat. In the last 3 years, you have had the Big Ten 26 tournament bids. In that past 3 years, 0 Final Four teams. And I still feel that Pretenders is that entire conference. I'm not convinced. I'm not sold on any of them. Yes, they're gonna make waves in the rankings, but I'm not sold on anybody in that Big Ten. I'm not sold.
Okay. I would say if there's one other team that I would have to say is a pretender, I think it's going to be Kentucky. I think it's going to be another year we don't see Kentucky in the Sweet 16 or in March Madness
until next year.
Yeah, because next year's class is number 2 behind Duke, and the only reason Duke got that nod is because of getting Cooper. Yeah. Which I do want to say this because I keep reading up on the kid just as he's from New England, so it's a kind of a cool story. His team is stacked that he plays on.
Yes.
Granted, he is an unbelievable basketball player. I'm not going to stop saying he's great at all. I want to see what he's really like at a college level competition. in how his body can hold up against somebody like that he's going to go up against too. Like he's lucky he doesn't have to go up against Baycott. If he goes up against him, very different story. So I want to see, is he really this perennial number one pick for the 2025 NBA draft? Is he really going to be that guy? Or is he going to be a good player, but not the number one overall pick? I want to see what happens. So,
yeah. And I'll admit, Merritt, I dig Coach Callan and the Wildcats, but I feel like this, they're really just getting everybody going for next year. When you have DJ Wagner coming in, son of DeJuan Wagner, former NBA first overall pick, who also played for Coach Cal. And he's like number one. I think he's like top player in the state of New Jersey. Yeah. I believe he also has he has like a Nike deal coming for NIL when he gets to school. So be on the lookout for Kentucky and DJ Wagner when he comes through.
Yeah, they also have that Jaden Quintance. So right now, Kentucky's 2024 class is got 4 commits, and they all fall within the top 100.
That's easy work for Cal right there, though.
Oh yeah, easy. And they still haven't heard back from a few of them. There's still guys that haven't made a final decision. So, and you said Wagner, Kevin?
Yeah.
He is... I don't see anything about him. They're looking at the Boozer twins, though, for 2025.
Damn, talk about aging. A shout out to the Boozer twins. Carlos Boozer's son.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. All right. Who's the final 4? I know you're going to have to throw.
I got my 4 ready to go.
Oh, let's hear it. I'm ready.
Already talked about the Houston Cougars. When you have LJ Cryer, a player like that, you need a star, someone who could take over a game, who can get you through the NCAA tournament. So Houston Cougars, Kansas Jayhawks, they have 5 players averaging double digits in points. Hunter Dickinson, Kevin McCullough Jr., KJ Adams, John Furpey, and Parker Braun, all averaging 10 or more. Jesus. So I got Houston, I got Kansas. I like the Miami Hurricanes, another team with 5 players averaging double-digit points, led by Wooga Poplar. What a name that is. 20 points per game as a guard. And then my dark horse for the Final 4 is one of UConn's rivals in the Big East, the Creighton Blue Jays.
Ooh!
They are the 8th seed right now, 8th overall in the country, led by Trey Alexander, 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 points, 3 steals a game. This guy's getting 3 steals a game.
That's ridiculous.
Great team. Creighton, my 4th Final 4 pick.
All right. Kevin, what do you got?
All right. So you know why you can't find anything on DJ Wagner?
Yeah.
Because he's already in fucking school. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. But yes. So here's what I'm gonna go with. I am gonna go with, let's go Final Four. I'm gonna go. Let's see. I had it written down and I can't find it on my sheet, but whatever. All right. I like Kansas.
Yep.
Kansas going. Let me go with, I know we just said that they might be waiting for next year, but we need like that random team that people don't want to win. Let's go with Kentucky. I like the Miami Hurricanes as well.
Okay.
And I also really, really enjoy, where did they go? Let's see. I just read their name. Give me somebody from the West. They may not do it, but give me UCLA.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going really random. I went with a lot some blue bloods.
Yeah,
But
you got 2 blue bloods in there.
yeah,
I
this
like
could be
it.
the year of some blue bloods this year.
Well, we didn't have year of blue bloods last year. We had it what was it, year before?
Year before.
Yeah, year before was all blue bloods. I like those picks. UCLA, I think Mark Few will figure out what to do without some of his guys who left to go to the NBA. Good pick there. I'm going to stick with the Kansas theme. I do think they will make that Final Four run. Honestly, out of the top 10, I think they're the only ones that make it. So I'm going to go backwards with some of my picks here. But I'm going to go Kansas. I'm going to go Arkansas.
Oh,
yes. They have had a good team over the past few years. Last year, they made a couple of good runs throughout the season. They have a good scorers. They had a guy, go to the Hornets, I think. So they have the caliber players there that can succeed. I'm going to go with USC.
really?
Yes.
Okay.
For the simple fact that there's so much hype around this team, I think they can live up to it. I also want to see what Bronny James can actually do once he's medically cleared. Right. Because if he is the real deal, I cannot wait to see what Bryce James does. Because he's supposed to be better. And then my last pick, and this is a Hail Mary from the 40-yard line. I'm going with JMU. Let's go.
Get out of here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what? Because the past few years, you are starting to see these mid-level teams finally break through, finally make a run that counts. FAU last year. I'm sorry, Miami wasn't that good of a team, and they made that run. So I really can see somebody just sneak in, and James Madison's 3-0 right now. They beat Michigan State and handedly and played them well in overtime. Yeah, why not? It'd be fun to see. I think we'd all be entertained by that. As long as they don't play Kansas and then get blown out. So now the question is, who wins it?
I think with Kansas, it's the safe pick right now.
Kevin?
Going out of like the Final Four I had?
Yes.
Ah, man. Yeah, I mean, Kansas is safe for first 2 weeks. You can't go wrong putting them out there. I'll go with Kansas as well.
Yeah, I'll stick with that train. After the first 2 weeks, that Kansas is definitely the best team. Now, talk to us in 3 months. Could be totally different story, of course. But yeah, that's what I came up with tonight. Not sure if you guys want to throw anything else out there. I know.
Yeah, can we shout out to the newest team in New York that actually won a championship?
Yes.
Can we shout out the Gotham FC of the NWSL? They beat Megan Rapinoe and the OL Reign this past weekend. So that is the first championship that the tri-state area has had since what? The Yankees in 2009?
Giants 2011.
Yeah.
Giants 2011. So that's the first New York team to be winning something. So shout out to those ladies there. I mean, I gotta say, I wanted to try and get out to one of those games over at Harrison. It's just I could not make it work with my schedule, but I'm definitely gonna try and see.
We'll plan it next year.
Yeah, because the tickets are absurdly cheap, very family friendly, and then so we definitely gotta plan maybe a wee out here for that one, Merritt.
Oh, I agree. Honestly, and have you heard the story of Gotham FC?
No.
Of what they went through. So last year, their team was god awful.
Yes, they were.
Horrible. They started off the year god awful. I think they were the worst team in the NWSL. They fired their coach and they put in the interim woman that's on, I think it was the head assistant coach. She has a different perspective, right? She comes with a different view of the game. They rattled off, I think, like 10 or 12 wins in a row. They went ballistic, which was unreal. Totally amazing. And one of the women that scored, I think, the game-winning goal was also the woman who scored the game-winning goal in the World Cup for Spain.
Pretty legit.
So legit teams, phenomenal. I agree. We definitely need to make our way out there next year when that season starts. Plus, they just signed a huge deal. I think it was like a $60 million deal or something for all their gaming rights and viewership and everything with, believe it's either ESPN or Apple. So definitely a great thing for women's soccer. Cannot wait to see what the next steps are for them.
Big time. Let's see. Where did it go? I was trying to see what the deal was. Oh wait, starting next year. So new 4-year media rights deal worth a combined $60 million per year. So next year, ESPN, ABC, CBS, Prime Sports, and Ion will combine to broadcast over 100 games to national audiences.
Nice.
$240 million in 4 years. They said it's on par with what the WNBA got.
Okay.
So it's getting there.
All exposure is good exposure. So
Yes.
Also, let's quickly talk about why we have soccer. The U.S. women's team has finally announced their new coach. Finally. Her name is Emma Hayes. Let's just go down her list of what she's done. She has won the FA Women's Cup League Championship 2 times. Women's FA Cup champions. Oh, wait, sorry, there's different ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. The Super League, 1, 2, 3, 6. She has been the manager of the season 6 times. She is a Hall of Fame for the Women's Super League and was also the best FIFA football coach in 2021. So we got a stud.
I'd say that resume is okay.
Yeah, she's fine. You know, she'll do
Just
fine.
win everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, but her salary is on par with what the men's coach is making, $1.6 million a year. So that's even an even better thing. And the last thing, this is going to be the fun thing where Kevin's like, "Oh, you talked about something sad." Sorry, I have to because it's relevant news. But a man has been arrested for suspicion of manslaughter in the Adam Johnson death. If you guys don't know who Adam Johnson is, he's the hockey player that got his throat slit open on the ice during a game in England. Apparently got up, skated off the ice with the help of his teammate, and then was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. I did not watch a video. People have told me that they did, and it's the most gruesome thing they've ever seen. Yeah, not going to. I'll probably throw up. So they haven't released any more information besides that they have arrested a suspect. And I don't know if it's actually the guy who cut his throat on the ice.
It doesn't seem like it is.
No, it doesn't either. It seems like there's something else behind the scenes. So
The guy whose skate blade cut Johnson's neck was Matt Petgrave.
yeah,
But it looks like there's no kind of foul play, malicious intent whatsoever on that.
they did say that those two did not like each other at all. They had a lot of beef between each other, but there's no way that someone would actually try to do that to somebody.
Ugh,
But
yeah, it's crazy.
the one thing England hockey is doing great, as of next year, throat guards are mandatory for every single player.
Good.
You're fucking playing with a sharp blade. I think you should have that.
Does the NHL have that?
Nope.
Gosh.
Not yet.
No, after this, they might.
It's true. Not yet.
But that's all I got. Kevin, did we miss anything? Because Andrew's not here because he had to drop off because his computer died and dealing with a few things.
Negative.
All right. Well, you can get us out of here. Joe Mac, you definitely need to throw your stuff out so that you can get some more people to listen to you.
Yeah, quickly, the Mush Squad Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any streaming service you can listen to podcasts. We're there. I've had these fellas on a couple of times over the years, including 2 weeks ago. They were the guest hosts filling in for JG, who is finishing up his time in the police academy and should be done before Christmas. So happy for him.
Yes.
Continue listening to that. We're also doing a Washington University football podcast called Bow Down, the Bow Down podcast. It is the slogan for the Washington Football Huskies. 10-0, number 5 in the nation. College football playoff contention is still there. If we win out the season, there's no doubt in my mind that as the Pac-12 champs and an undefeated Pac-12 champs, they should be in that Final Four for the college football playoffs. So stay tuned for that. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Joe McGrath89.
Love it. Love it. So, you know what's really funny? Because now that kind of rolls into like part of what I should have had before Joe did all that. But I definitely want to ask you, because one thing that you guys should follow on the Manly Musings podcast Instagram, the Manly Musings pod, is the Filibuxters with your Filipino Star Bucksters. And I wanted to ask you, since we had the question of the day today, guys, who was your childhood crush?
Oh,
so I'm a little bit older. I'm 34. I think I got a few years on you guys.
nope. You and I are the same age.
Like a year.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe Mac, you and I are the exact same age, boy.
I was head over heels in love with Kelly Kapowski.
Yep. That was
Saved
an
by the
answer.
Bell.
One of the ones we had this morning.
But also, if you remember, in the mid-90s, there was like a series of game shows on Nickelodeon called Figure It Out. It was like the big head, and like there was
yeah,
the host of that, Summer Sanders.
Sanders.
Google her.
Yo, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Summer Sanders.
Love me some Summer Sanders.
She looks a little scary now.
She's 52. She can look as scary as she wants.
Yeah, that's true.
Mary, what about you?
You got to go with the girl next door, Topanga.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go Topanga, or because you picked the pink Power Ranger. I would have picked her as well.
Kimberly, right?
But you got to go with Topanga. Yeah, I'd have to say that would be my crush when I was a kid.
Yes, I thought I would. I forgot to end our segment with the whatever you wanted to add, so I thought I'd throw it in now. But yeah, so it's outro time again. Episode 108 overall. Joe Mac, thank you so much again for joining us. It's always a pleasure. I'm trying to currently get in the works the wrestling podcast of when we're gonna do it and how we're gonna do it. Just maybe to switch things up a bit. But yeah, we're gonna rock out. For those of you guys are watching us on the YouTube, watch us at the Manly Musings podcast channel. Feel free to listen to us on all streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Play, and Amazon Play. Make sure you follow Merritt's Instagram at Merritt_P. Make sure you follow me at KQuava624. That is where you will also get the infamous Filibuxters with your Filipino Star Bucksters posts every probably Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday when possible. And yeah, episode 108, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. You guys have a great night, y'all. Peace.